Edward, let me thank you very much. And this series does mean a lot to me because I do pause from busy schedules and I think about your dad and the impact that he's had on this campus and on my life. He's a great gentleman, a wonderful leader, and certainly will have an impact on my life for many years to come. Now, let me begin by first saying, this is not a goodbye speech. I'm not here to say goodbye. People have emailed me, I'm coming up the mountain, I want to hear your goodbye. I'm not saying goodbye. This is the month of March. I leave in the month of June. So let's just get that clear right now. This is not a goodbye time whatsoever. There's much more work to be done, and I'm here and ready to go to work to make it happen. Let me take just a moment, if I may, to thank everybody that is in here. Everybody here is very special. There are many former students of mine that are here, acquaintances of mine, students that are not in the College of Business that are here, and they've emailed me and told me they were here, and they've created many memorable moments and all for me. Ben, you are here. Mandy, you are here somewhere. I don't know where. I can't really see. They're from the College of Education, and I really want to acknowledge them for the great things that they have done. And Kyle Wisnett, you've heard me mention his name many times before. They're the ones that came to the Chancellor's house when I first started, knocked on the door and asked my wife if I could come out and play. I love that. I love the nerve that they would have to come and knock on the door. Can he come out and play? Well, I was at the office working, and Roseanne talked to him for a little bit, and they wanted to come and play Frisbee. We never got to do that. That's one of those things I regret. As you step aside, I didn't do that. Now, on graduation day, I did have a Frisbee for him, so he got a diploma and a Frisbee. That's a little unusual. But I do like those memories. There are things like that you say. People say, will you miss it? Yeah, there are things about Appalachian that I will miss. Let me this morning, this series is where the business leaders of tomorrow meet the business leaders of today. That's still very true. And I thank all the people from the business community for coming, supporting this program, and meeting our wonderful students. We're so proud of them and proud of what they have and what they will accomplish. I do want to recognize, too, the Chancellor-elect is here. She didn't know she was going to be here. I just had a way of talking her into it, and I said, here's a great gig you got to go to. Come on, just do this with us. And it's not her day. Her day was yesterday, but her day was, look. Her day was my day, and my day is her day. So if you'll come up for just a minute, I want everybody to get to see you and have you, more importantly, Sherry, I want you to get to see them. This is part of the Appalachian family. This is a part you'll be extremely proud of. So y'all, Chancellor-elect, and notice I call her Sherry because the search committee, I think, did a great job. They found the right person to lead this institution, and they found for me and for Roseanne 2 new friends, her husband Jay and Sherry. So Sherry, thank you so much. So just say a word of welcome to them, please.
Those of you that know Ken and Roseanne know that if Ken suggests something to you, that means that you'll be there. And so that's why Jay and I are here. And we're also very happy to be here and to have the opportunity to knock Ken's notes off.
Yes.
And to welcome all of you today as well. I just want to say we feel so welcomed to the Appalachian family. Thank you so much. Ken and Roseanne have been a very important part of that welcoming. Now it's my turn to sit down and listen and learn from the boss.
No. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sherry. I can say that everybody here looks forward to getting to know you, working with you, supporting you as you lead Appalachian to even greater heights than where we are. So let me begin today by saying I want to share a few things. Seize the opportunities that just sort of come your way. Sometimes you don't know they'll come. It just sort of happens. It's a serendipitous moment. It just happens. First, I want to mention here just briefly to you, embrace, now this is a College of Business function. I know what I'm saying. Embrace the arts or embrace athletics. Embrace the other side of who you are. It may be an outdoor activity. It may be an indoor activity. Recently, in talking with a person who was a potential donor, he said to me, I said, well, what else? What makes you tick? When you get home, what is it that excites you? What do you look forward to doing? He said, I hate to admit this, And I hate to admit it. I said, you can tell me. I won't tell anybody. We're all friends. I said, so what is it? Yeah. And he says, I like to collect stamps. There's something about that that excites me. Well, I can tell you that's not anything about that that excites me particularly, but it excites him. And for a few moments, I was very interested in stamp collecting until I got the check. You want to make sure that we could do that. So it's one of those, it lets you know, embrace the other side. Embrace that part. That's important to know to be a successful leader takes more than a command of your academic studies. I know you, one day, as graduates of Appalachian State, you will have the academic training, you will have the ability and the skills to excel. I am confident that that's true. But just being a seasoned, professional, know all the facts person, man or woman, doesn't work. First example for me. As a graduate of Mars Hill College on the other side of the mountain, took my first job at Price Waterhouse in Winston-Salem. Did not have a clue what I was doing. I didn't know what it was all about. I went in, I got my assignments, and my first client in Winston-Salem was a well-respected leader, Philip Haynes. And I had all his work for tax. It was my job. Do it, meet with them, prepare it. I did it. I did all that. And they said, now he's a tough guy. I said, all right, now I'll be ready. Being ready was a different definition for me. I thought being ready means I got to know why he's going to pay money this year and he didn't pay last year. I got to be able to explain that, every fact, every figure. So I studied it. I looked at it. I had my Price Waterhouse briefcase. Oh, it was nice. It was shiny. I was proud of it. Had the name on the side. I had my little briefcase. Did all that work. And then one of my colleagues said, Ken, you got to look the part. And I said, am I dressed wrong? He said, no. He said, you got to look the part. You can't take a new briefcase. That makes it look like you don't do this. You haven't done this before. You got to have an old, worn-out briefcase. I said, well, I'm sorry, but this is the one that they gave me, and I kind of like it. They said, no, you can't take a new briefcase. So I went to my apartment where I lived, and that night I went out in the parking lot, and I took it and I scratched it out. And I thought, I'm going to make this thing look like it's been worn, it's been used. I know how to do this. So I was faking it. I just did all that. My neighbor, who was a dentist, came out and said, what are you doing? And I said, what am I doing? I said, I'm making my briefcase look like it's old. And he said, why? I said, because I want to look like I know what I'm doing. He said, this is not the way to start, I can tell you that. So I took that briefcase the next day, and I sat up that night. I was up late hours. I studied everything about his tax picture, and I knew why he paid more. I was worried about that. So they had some deductions I had denied, and I wanted to admit that. Anyway, I went to the house, very nervous. It was just me by myself. Knocked on the door. All this music plays, and so I go in the house, and so I go into the library, and he said, okay, how much do we owe? What's it about? And so I told him the number, and he didn't say anything. I was expecting. I said, I can explain that. But he said, show me where I sign. He called his wife, DeWitt. She comes in the room, and he says, here, sign here on this line. She signed, and I said, now, a service I would like to do for you is I can take these and have these mail return receipt requested. I'll be happy to do that for you. He said, that's fine. Just take care of it. So he was folding it up, and I thought, here come the questions. But they didn't. He looked me in the eye and said, do you like music? And I said, yes, sir. I certainly do like music. And he said, do you play? And I said, I used to play a lot more, but I do play. And he said, come, I want to show you something. And he says, this will make your day. We go into the living room area, and there is a great big Steinway, German-made. He had it shipped over, German-made Steinway. He says, play me a song. And I thought, oh my. I said, well, sir, I don't really have any music or anything with me. He said, oh, I bet you can do it. Just do something. And I thought, he says do something, I'm going to do something. So I sat down and I played a song for him. I remember I played some by ear, picked that up, and I played. And he said, that was really nice. You play from the heart. You play with feeling. That means a lot to me. At that point, he and I bonded. We didn't bond over accounting. We didn't bond over his tax return. We didn't bond over the fact that he should have been impressed with the knowledge that I had because I'd stayed up late the night before. He was impressed because I happened to be able to play Tennessee Waltz on the piano. He could just fake it along. You got to have that other side of you. Just knowing your material, that's just not enough. So seize the opportunity. Find out who you are. I will admit that even though I served as chancellor of the university, I always liked the Harvard Business Review. And it was a business professor here in the college that told me to go back and reread an article about authentic leadership. And in that authentic leadership, it says, sit down, talk to yourself. Ask yourself in the mirror, who am I? What do I stand for? How can I serve? And a quote from here is, we need to challenge ourselves to understand ourselves well enough to discover where we can use our leadership gifts to serve others. To serve others. It didn't say to make money. It didn't say get a prestigious title. It said none of that stuff. You can serve others. That means a lot to me. And I think that's one of the first things that we all need to do is embrace ourselves. Find out who we are and be proud of who we are. We need leaders in our country. We need leaders in all areas. And serving at ACE, the latest edition of the magazine that came out, the presidency says the leadership imperative. You are needed, students. We need you desperately, whether it's in political world, whether it's the business world, nonprofit world, we need you. Now, when I travel around and go to Chapel Hill a lot more than I really want to, I can admit that. But when I go around and I have some free time, I'll go to the bookstore and just walk around. I don't have a reason. I'm just walking around. I'll have dinner and I'll go walk around. And I'll look at books that are on leadership, how we can step out of who we are and how we can use our skills to serve others, and to be an effective leader. There's several things in those books. You know those: communication, leadership, take the lead, make the tough decisions. You read all those things. They're all there. I don't buy the books. I just stand there and read them free. I don't like it a whole lot, but I do it. So I want you to know that we need you, and I want you to seize that opportunity to lead. Now, in leading, a couple of things I want to share with you. First of all, read the book Good to Great by Jim Collins. He is right. It's not me. People have given me credit for things that I have done. Programs that are up here that they'll say, Ken did that. Look, Ken didn't. Ken had help from many of you in this room. Many of you stepped up and believed and said, it's worth a chance. Give him a shot at this thing. I'd go into some business leader's office and say, just give me a chance one time. Let me see if we can make this thing work. And if we can't, I won't be back. I would, but I wouldn't tell them that. So, but just give me a chance at this thing. Jim Collins says that when you're leading, you got to get the right people on the bus, the wrong people off the bus, and the right people in the seats on the bus. That is so true. I have lived it. I know it. And I have an excellent team here at Appalachian that makes a real difference. And they set me up to look good. It's not me. It's all about the team. And as I say that about the team, that's in the professional context. It also takes a little support from home. You got to know that. It takes support from home. To be successful in the professional world, you got to have support and encouragement from home. And I have, for 39 years, had the right person. I can't tell you what she has meant to me and what she has meant to this university. There are times that we go home, I go home, leave the office, go straight home, and there's an event, and I walk in the back door and I said, okay, now Roseanne, who are these people that are coming and why are they here? What are they happy about? Who are they? And she is there for me. She is there for Appalachian, and it has been a true joy. It takes that. It takes a team at the office, and it takes that support from home. And Roseanne and I have been blessed to have two wonderful sons who really sacrificed me, not being home, doing other things for Appalachian. They were there. I couldn't be more proud of my two sons, and they have married the right women for them. and I'm very proud of them. They're all here today, and that's unusual to see them all here, but they have done so much. I just want you to know. It takes a family, it takes a team. I've had both, and I am truly blessed. Third thing is, while you are doing this job in leadership, remember, serve the people. As that quote said from Harvard Business Review, find out how you can use your skills to serve others, to meet their needs. Let these people know, all of them on your team and everybody. The higher up the ladder you go, the more people you have that you have to serve. Let them know that they are appreciated, they are admired, they are respected. Let them know that. The one thing that I have learned as I step away from this position in a few months is that young people, students need to know we care. At Appalachian, we do. Faculty, you do. And I thank you for reaching out the way you do. They'll come and tell me what you have said to them, the guidance you have given them. This is a special university because of the faculty and the staff and the students that reach out to you and you reach back and respond to them. And I thank you very much for all of that. Fourth thing in leadership, I just want to say is listen. Listen to the people that you serve. That's one thing I'm criticized more than anything else is I want to listen. They say, don't do that. That's somebody else's job. No, it's not. The leader is the person that needs to hear everything and respond to that the best that he or she possibly can. So as we seize those opportunities to lead, remember those few things. And then in seizing that opportunity to lead, the one thing, the most important thing to me ever about this job in any leadership position is you have the chance to touch someone else's life. You can make a difference for someone else. And that is the greatest gift of all. As Maya Angelou said, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Every person should be valued, appreciated, and respected in any setting whatsoever, and I think Appalachian does that extremely well. When you touch the life of another person, you have made a difference. Randy started telling a story last night at dinner, and I wanted to complete that. Several years ago, a young man, I don't think he's here today, I haven't seen him, Giovanni, that came in through the Martha Guy Summer Institute. So I knew him a little bit better. I knew who he was, knew about him. I'd see him on campus. We'd stop and speak. How's it going? How are your classes? I'm proud of you. What's the toughest thing you got facing you? What's the best thing that's going on right now? And he would tell me those things. So one day I'm in my office, and Kathy Rourke, who's out there, and she's always guarding the door. Nobody gets in unless Kathy says you get in, and that's always true. But he appeared, and she came in and says, "As a student out here to see you." And I said, "Bring him on in, send him in." So he comes, I didn't know who it was. And I looked up and I see Giovanni. He said, "I just wanted you to hear it from me." And I said, "All right, what?" He said, "I'm leaving school." I stood up from my desk and I said, "No, you are not." I thought it was because of some financial situation or some family matter. And I said, "No, you are not. That's just not acceptable. What is the issue?" He says, "I'm in the reserves. I've been called to Iraq." And I said, "That's a different story." I said, I did not know that's going to be the reason. And I said, "I thank you. I'm proud of you. Thank you for serving our country. I admire you tremendously for that." And I thought, what can I do? I didn't know he was coming. What can I do? What can I give him? What can I say? He's going off to war. And I thought, I've got to do something. I just have to. Nothing. I was just there kind of unprepared. And so I reached up and I took my A pen off and I said, "All right, do me a favor. Take this with you. You remember when you're over there on those front lines that there are people back on the mountaintop in North Carolina that are pulling for you. People that want you back. People that know you're putting yourself in harm's way for us. We want you back. You take this as a reminder." He took the pen and he put it on. We shook hands, had a brotherly embrace there in the office, and he left. I didn't hear from him for a while. I think we exchanged notes through student development area. We keep up with our students who are serving, and so we kept up with him that way. It was a couple of years past, and I had gone home for an event for Martha Guy. I did not know that Giovanni was back on campus. I walk in and I see this young man and I think, I know him. And so I go over and I said, Giovanni, it's you. I didn't know you were back. He said, I'm back. And he stood around and we chatted for a little bit, just briefly, just generic conversation. And toward the end, he kept standing back. And he didn't leave. And the others had left. He was there. So I walked over and I said, Giovanni, it's so good to see you back where you belong. And he said, hold out your hand. And I said, I beg your pardon? He said, hold out your hand. He said, I have something for you. And I said, okay. I held my hand out. He said, close your eyes for a minute. I said, Giovanni, you're making me a little bit uncomfortable here. I said, but what's up? I said, I will follow suit. I will do as you say. So I did close my eyes. I had my hand open, and he put in it his A pen. He said, this belongs to you. He said, I took that on the front lines of Iraq. And I was told not to put it on my knapsack, but you always told me don't always follow the rules, and I didn't. He said, so I put it on that knapsack. And when I would wake up or turn over, I would see that and I would think, people want me back. People care about me. So I thought about that. That pen, that little symbol, he said, that's what pulled me through. That I cared about getting back to my Appalachian family. He gave me that pen and I took mine off. I said, well, then you've got to have one. You take this one. So we swapped pens. When my wife came in, I said, you won't believe what just happened. So I told her, and she said, where's the pen? I said, I've got it on. She said, you can't wear that pen. And I said, well, he gave it back to me. She said, yes, but you lose them. That pen is symbolic. You can't wear that pen. I said, you're right. So she said, give it to me. I gave it to her, and she went and got it framed. And it sits in our room now, his pen that went to Iraq. And that's a symbol to me that we got to serve people. People need to know we care, and we do. It's just let it out of the closet. Let them know that we're there for them. What a great story it was for him. What a great reminder it is as I see that every day in the Appalachian House where we currently are. I see that every day and reminded that, we can make a difference, in someone's life. So seize that opportunity to make a difference, regardless of how small or big, it may be. And then I want to just mention too, to be prepared to anticipate in leadership. Be prepared to anticipate the unexpected. Things just happen. It just comes out of left field here. I want to tell you, now, I learned that a few years ago, again, because of my love for music and growing up in Rocky Mount. I got this wonderful call one day from this lady asking me if I would play for her wedding. And I thought, I think that sounds pretty good. So I called my music teacher and I said, guess what? I've got this gig. I can play for a wedding. So this is a big deal for me. She said, where is it? And I said, you're not going to believe it. It's at the First Baptist Church. That's a big church in downtown Rocky Mount. My family, we didn't go to that church. It's a big church. I knew who the organist was. It was a professor of music at Wesleyan College. I'd been to many things that he had done. Outstanding. So I go to that church and I say, I'm come to practice and work on this for a wedding. They said, we don't let anybody play that organ. I said, I don't blame you, but am I going to be anybody? I've got the job. They've hired me. They're my neighbors. So please. So she said, you have to come in and check it out, and you'll have to come and pass a test. And so I did all that stuff, had my music teacher come with me. And then my music teacher always told me, be prepared. That was her motto. Be prepared. You never know what will happen. So, obviously, for a wedding, for the songs, I have an extra song. I play more than I need to. I think I'm prepared. I got there on time, started on time, went through the entire prelude, and kept looking at the back. It was this big thing where the greenery was everywhere. I was like in a forest. This is not what we did at my church. I just saw this big thing there. So nobody nobody said anything, and I didn't see anything. So I thought, well, the people who came in last didn't hear what I played first, but I got to tell them, this is all I got. The music is up. This is it. This is it. So I flipped back to the beginning. I started over again, kept playing. Then I started sweating. Got a little bit worried. Well, I got through that entire thing again, and just as I got to the end of all the pieces for the prelude, the minister comes over. I did not really know this gentleman. He looks at me, and he had, I'm not sure why he did this, he had a little grin on his face. It was just a little cheesy grin. I didn't quite get it, but he came up, he just said, well, the bride has called this service off. So I'm going to go out front, and I'm going to say something. I'll have a brief prayer, and I will look at you. You play something appropriate. And I thought, okay. And I thought, all this music is all I got. This is all I got. What's appropriate? So he goes, and honestly, I do not know what he said, and I was not respectful. I did not pray when he prayed. I was praying for me, not for him, because I thought, what am I going to do? What is this about? Something appropriate? So I saw him through that greenery. He looked up at me, and he nodded, and I thought, I think that's me. What am I going to do? So I just put my hands, it's that several rank organ. I put my hands on those keys and just started making up stuff. I just, I can't play something joyful. It can't be lively. Can't play the recessional. I can't play the processional. What am I going to do? Just started making it up. And I thought, this is going along easier than I thought it was. Maybe I'm just composing me a new song right here. So I got me a few chords out, and then I reached up and added a little trumpet to it and just kept going. I thought, this is easier than I thought it would be. But I looked out and saw my mother, and she had this horrible look on her face. Mom is there with this hat on, like they would wear back in those decades. And she just looked at me, and I thought, what's wrong? I'm in a bind. Don't give me any trouble. I'm in a bind. So she came up and she said, you know what you're playing? And I said, I don't. I'm making it up. She said, you are playing Toot Toot Tootsie Goodbye. And it was. See, but you got to be ready for this thing. Somehow in your mind, you've got to be ready. You've got to be prepared. You got anything that you do in a leadership role, you've got to be prepared for what may come out of left field. One more example of this that we have experienced here. My wife and I were taking a lady out to dinner one night, and we just thought, okay, this is going to be a little treat for us. Her husband had passed away several months before. We had been down for the service, and a very respectful person who worked hard at Appalachian. Many of the people in here will know who I'm talking about. And as I'm driving the car, and it's a car seat in the middle, and Roseanne on the other side. She said, well, before we get to our restaurant, I have some business I would like to take care of. And I said, great. And I thought, my great was, she's going to pay off his pledge. I just know what it is. He made a pledge, and she's going to honor that pledge. So I'm ready to receive that. And so she said, he wanted you to have a little bit of him. So she said, here it is. It was in a plastic Ziploc bag. And she sticks her hand through the two seats and hands that bag up. And I said, Roseanne, I've got the steering wheel and the turn control and everything. So you take the bag, please, for me. That would be a big help. So Roseanne reaches up, and I'm thinking, what parts did we get? Please tell me. So, Sherry, that bag is still in my office. So I'm going to leave that it's in my office. And I'm going to leave it for you. But it's nice when you find out that somebody, maybe a little bit too much to say, I want you to leave a little bit of you. You can leave a little bit, but not in a baggie, please. Third thing I want to say, or next thing I want to say is to make memories. Some of you coming in today have said to me, there's so many memories that we have, and they are great memories with former students that I have seen here, some all the way from California that have come. That means so much to me. You have touched my life in many ways. Brad Sparks, I'm so proud of you, and the memories not only for you coming here today, but the memory I have of you standing on the front of a boat in China, drinking something out of a bottle with a snake in it. I still remember that, and that's part of me. Whether I want to remember it or not, it's one of those things that you can't really get out of your mind. Now, where is our delegation from Sudan? If I can, where are they? Thank you all for being. Mary, where are you? Mary, stand up just a minute. Just want you to see something. Yes, I want you to see I still have it. Last year when I was in China at a dinner that Mary had hosted for us, they made this, that she created this. Now, it took me a minute. It's actually me at a piano, and it means a lot. You know, some of it looks like me, not all of it, but it's but that's a memory. Create a memory. I know it has an A pin on it, yes, and it has a yellow tie and a black suit. It has it just like it's supposed to. But Mary, I thank you for creating those memories for years and coming with the students, you, Lee Hong, and others. And Helena, where are you? You got to know, see, it takes a lot. Helena is here. She's, Helena, stand up just a minute. Helena has done our travel to China for years. And Helena, for you to come today means a lot to me. So thank you for being here and thanks for your support. Last point, let me just try and make, is this. Seize your youthfulness. Students, seize your youthfulness. This is the time when you are more daring. You are more afraid. You are not afraid to take a chance. You're not afraid of failure. Daring, step out of the box. Seize that feeling and carry that with you. I love that phrase about being childlike, being youthful in what we do. Thomas Jefferson said, because I was once a child, I'm always a child. We all retain our capacity for the child's sense of playfulness, no matter how seriously adult we have become, as serious as the President of the United States. And he ends at his book by saying, I want you to know that part of Monticello, designed by me, part was designed by a boy and part by a man. That means a lot to me. Keep that sense of youthfulness, that daringness to say, we can do it, we can keep going. That's a strong point. It's one that, even as a leader, will make you a stronger person, I think. In my first years in the College of Business, my chairman was Jim Jones. Jim's been here forever, literally. He was the athletic director for many years. Jim hired me, and I was working for him, and things were quiet. It's the College of Business. It was quiet. And I just thought, it needs stirring up a little bit. Something's got to be done. So I went out to Tweetsy, knew the people who were managing that, and borrowed the goat. It's Shadow the goat. It was a famous goat, had a reputation and everything. I borrowed the goat and brought that goat back at home with me. Thanks to my wife, she allowed me to keep the goat at home that night. We did, and the next day I took the goat to the radio station, and I took the goat to class. I went in the building. Jim Jones was up teaching his students. He was up lecturing, giving this information out, and I walked in with the goat, and Jim sort of stepped over to the side. I put the goat on the desk with his paws on the podium, and the students kept taking notes. You were writing something down. And I said, Jim, I said, look, they don't recognize old goat, new goat. Makes no difference. Makes no difference. You see, that playfulness, that's who you are. And do that. When I moved into the chancellor's job 10 years ago, as they said, I realized, people told me, said, you can't do that stuff anymore. You can't be playful anymore. And I said, well, I probably will, but I just won't get caught. And they said, well, that's the attitude. You can't do that anymore. I don't agree with that philosophy, but I understand and certainly respect what people say about that. Stephen Jobs said in the only lecture he gave to a group at a university, at Stanford University, he said, quote, sometimes life hits you in the head with a brick. Don't lose faith. Do not give up. I believe that. It does. There are times you get hit in the head with a brick, but don't keep up. He says, I'm convinced that the only thing that kept me going was that I loved what I did. He looked at the crowd and said, you've got to find what you love and do it. So as I close this morning, I'm not saying goodbye, but I do want to let you know I have loved 31 years at Appalachian. Loved it. Nothing in the world like it. But what made it so good is I can thank all these people here and others that I have met and saying thank you for being on my team, for working with me. Thank you for allowing me to be an authentic leader to the extent that I got caught in things. Thank you very much for sticking with me. Thank you for making a difference in my life as I have tried to make differences in the lives of the students. And thank you for letting me hold on to my youthfulness to the extent possible. You hold on to yours. You go. You make a difference. I will tell you this. As I get close to June, life is wonderful. It's wonderful. Thank you very much. I love you all. Thanks. No.
Thank you. Thank you. We're almost through. We have a couple of recognitions for Chancellor Peacock and we'll be through, so thank you for your patience. We have a special presentation. Mr. Boyles is holding the eagle, crystal eagle. The symbol of this lecture series is the eagle. The eagle symbolizes strength, gracefulness, keenness of vision, power of flight. The CEOs and leaders who have served as our speakers possess these same characteristics. So we're pleased to present this crystal eagle to Chancellor Peacock in appreciation for his wonderful lecture today, but also to honor him for his leadership for this series and for Appalachian State over the last 31 years. So Chancellor Peacock. Also wanted to announce that this summer, when Appalachian completes the comprehensive fundraising campaign, the trustees have approved renaming the business building, which is Rayleigh Hall, in honor of Chancellor Peacock. So this summer we expect the business building to be renamed as Kenneth E. Peacock Hall, and it will be an honor and a privilege for the Walker College to be housed in Peacock Hall, and that we look forward to that happening in the summer. Last item, page 8 in the program has some information about special recognition that we're undertaking for Chancellor Peacock, which will include a thank you wall that will be housed in the new Peacock Hall, and that information is on page 8 of the program, and there are also some signboards here. If you responded that you plan to attend lunch, special invitation lunch, have a name tag, lunch will be served behind the curtain shortly. And students, you can scout your ID cards scanned on the way out on the concourse level. Thank you so much. One more recognition for Chancellor Peacock and we're through. Thank you. Appreciate your heartfelt comments, Ken. That was special. That was on the web, by the way, so Brenda White Ryan wanted to watch. She couldn't be here.